Not as many ashtray locations as an old Starfire.
No, they were skimping. The dash ashtrays always intrigued me, how it doesn't come out, it's set inside of the dash, and you have to go find the ashtray.
Yeah, you have to get in there. Top frame is all original. We just cleaned that up a little bit is all, and re-put it back on there. Looks great still. Cool that it has that Oldsmobile 8-track.
We didn't take anything of the dash apart.
No.
It's just cleaned.
Yep, absolutely.
Literally untouched.
Radio sounds pretty good still. Yep, no air conditioning, which of course you couldn't get with a 4-speed in a W30 anyway. And the reason for that would be the camshaft was so big, and it was really the gear ratio is the really big reason. With this car, it's a 373 gear car, which you couldn't get with air conditioning. Anyway, really cool little, oil tune.
Service decal.
Standard oil there. Yeah, 38,507.
The gauges in Oldsmobiles are just so good. They're so easy to see. They're right there. They're the mechanical side of them, that you can take them out of the dash from this side of the car and then work on them individually. Brilliant.
Very nice, yep. Tick-tock tack there they were showing. What's really cool about that area there where the headlight switch is that is a very commonly cracked
Always fails.
part.
Always fails.
And that one, of course, if you go back and pause there, you can see that is beautifully uncracked. And it spent a good amount of its time, at least in the Midwest, because where it was sold new, which we'll get to later. But the first time I heard about this car, it was in a shipping container in Southern California. All right, yeah, iconic Oldsmobile engine compartment there. Yeah, open face alternator, the internal regulator there, which was 69 Oldsmobiles had that, along with Firebirds and maybe Eldorado, Corvette, I think.
Yeah, no, introduced in 69, but starting to get kind of common by 71.
Right.
Right, you can see the original firewall with the overspray of the sound deadener or whatever you want to call that there.
That's original still on there. You can see that's a 71 air cleaner, doesn't have the hole for the California emission. Manual disc brakes, that's the right master cylinder for that car. 70 would be totally different.
Yep, and that's mandatory. You can't get power out of this car.
That's right, yep, the camshaft wouldn't make enough vacuum.
Bolts really like their plastic tie downs. My favorite is the one on the fan shroud.
Right, yep.
Still
Normally
similar to the 65 Starfire.
Yeah, absolutely. Very clean, the manual transmission, positive battery cable runs along the intake manifold there, has a little tie down there on the little bracket. The senders there, expensive senders.
Yeah.
Most people don't have those correct on your just average restoration.
You can see the smog lines off to the left, 71 new emissions.
Oh yeah, it goes over to the canister over there.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yep. All right, well at Vandermeer, it was pretty cool. We had access to the scale, which was on that day, because they were having it tested to 3,730 pounds.
Not bad.
Not bad, would move this car down into the 14-second range probably. We had a lot of wide open spaces over there, so why not go ahead and stretch it out a little bit, is what I was thinking. Whoops, I hope the customer doesn't watch this video. No, I told them. I said that's all part of the, shakedown.
That's what they're made for.
Absolutely, yep.
That's what they're made for.
And hey, that's 5,800 feet. That's probably a corrected altitude of probably 7 or 8 or 9,000 feet, depending on the temperature of the day and stuff like that. this car. The K&P Chevrolet in Olds. This car was sold to Dan Reed of Monticello, Iowa.
Is that Monticello?
I don't know. Is that where Thomas Jefferson lived? I'm confused.
Please, anyone living there, comment.
Right. I'm pretty sure he was in Virginia. But
Does anybody know Dan Reed? Does anybody
Right.
know this car?
absolutely, there's certainly, if we can reach, if our reach extends to Monticello, Iowa, that would be fantastic. But yeah, here's the list of options of this car. What do we got as a
Pretty darn heavy. What was the total of options?
uh,
Right, $1,400 in options. This car was not light.
no, $82 in freight, $35 in undercoating, and for some reason or another, they gave him a $359
He must have been a good haggler.
discount. Yeah,
He did trade in a 69 Olds on it.
February of 1971 is when this window sticker was all typed up. Chevy Olds dealership, you know, a lot of times in small towns, you know, they paired those cars up. All kinds of different configurations there. Could be, I think, pretty much anything anybody wanted, except you probably couldn't do a Ford in a GM dealership or a Mopar or something like that. But
So this has a 373 optional axle. The standard is a 342.
I would think so, yeah.
I think so too.
And in either case, being a W30, it's going to have an M21. Or at least a close ratio transmission. I guess some of these may have had M22s as well. I know the Pontiacs pretty frequently had the M22s. So yeah, here's the interior operated hood lock we talked about. An extra charge of $10.55 on that. But boy, that is an almost standard.
I can't say that I've ever seen an OAI hood without that.
Yeah, very typical. The 8-track is a really common option.
Very common.
Oldsmobile.
Again, it's got tilt steering, but no power steering.
Yeah, so we know for sure that on the early Pontiacs we restored, they frequently, you can't do that. And was it the Formula wheel?
No, you can't do that with a 65 Catalina.
Okay. Could be,
No.
just be because of the mechanics.
The
inside.
mechanics of the column are weak, I believe. So I think you have to have power steering to go along with that. So
Yeah,
this is really odd.
Yeah, it has to be almost because you had a giant steering wheel, whether it was tilt or not on an early Pontiac. So, yeah, and that's pretty interesting. This car drives pretty good. If you're at a dead stop, of course, it takes some effort, a little bit of Armstrong action there, but of course, any speed whatsoever.
Once it's moving.
Beautifully, yeah. And we put the radial tires on this car. I think it would turn a little bit easier if it had the bias ply tires.
True bias plies, yes.
Yeah.
Probably.
So you can kind of see how when you drive a really nicely restored car with the bias ply tires, how it wasn't a big deal to not have power steering back in the 60s. You know.
They drove fine.
Yeah, they were.
They really did.
Fine.
Little old ladies could do it. I find it interesting on the window sticker, the W machine package doesn't mention anything mechanical on it. Not the heads, the intake, the camshaft, the compression, nothing. It's all about stripes and glamour.
So you would just need to know what you were ordering.
What you were ordering,
And
right. They're not.
that. Spend some time with the
It's amazing.
salesman or whatever. On the other hand, only, it was a low production car always, right? So it was definitely someone who knew
Knew what they wanted.
for, to order a W30 Oldsmobile.
It wasn't an accident.
Absolutely. So, well, I guess we could put a wrap on this one again. Thanks for joining us on another episode of What Makes This Car Cool, behind the scenes of Level 1 Restoration. I'm Gary Riley, and this is Jeff Kelly.
Thank you.